On this quiet night, as you prepare to close your eyes, let us take you on a journey, not through fantasy, but through history. A journey into a time when mornings were cold, nights were unsafe, and life itself was a daily struggle. Forget everything the films told you, forget noble knights, shining dragons, glittering castles. The truth was far darker, more like a living hell stretched across the land. Tonight, we dive into one single day in the life of an ordinary person in the year 1325. A day that begins in a shabby wooden hut, moves through hunger, toil, fear, and filth, and which may end in death. If you enjoy this kind of storytelling, support us with a like and a subscribe, and leave a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from. Now, dim your lights, settle in, and prepare to descend with us into a day in medieval hell. Morning in the hut. You wake in a damp, rotting hut. No curtains. No privacy. No comfort. Only thin, cracked wooden walls and a roof made of straw. Rain from the previous night still drips through, and you wonder whether the dark spots on the ceiling are water, or something worse. You lie under a heavy woolen blanket that hasn't been washed since last winter. The smell is a mixture of damp, sweat, smoke and decay. The mattress beneath you is nothing but a mass of damp straw, full of insects. Every shift brings a tingle across your skin. Movement is painful, your back aches as if you'd slept on a wooden plank. You are 20 years old, considered grown-up, even middle-aged in this time. There is no youth, no carelessness, no rest. In the distance you hear church bells tolling slowly, deeply, cutting through the cold air. This is not a gentle wake-up call. It is an order, rise and prepare. You sit up. The weak morning light seeps through cracks in the walls. The hut is shared, you, your mother, your siblings, perhaps a cousin visiting. No partitions, no doors, no privacy. The floor is bare earth, stained and smeared. The air is thick with the smell of animal urine, mold, stale food, and damp wood. The first chore I nature's call. There is no toilet. No running water. No private chamber. For peasants, the latrine is a wooden bucket behind the hut. Probably cracked, always foul, often full. You get up barefoot. The ground beneath your feet is either slimy mud or dry dirt laced with other stains. You carry the bucket out carefully, as best you can, then dump it out of the door or window, shouting the old warning, Gardillo. A caution inherited from Old French, meaning watch out. It alerts anyone near the street that waste is about to be poured out. You don't wait long. The village street outside is a narrow, muddy path, often more river than road. Waste and leftovers flow along it until rain washes them away, or until the earth thirsty for filth absorbs them. This is everyday life. Public latrines do exist in bigger towns, but they are no better. A row of wooden seats above a pit or a gutter, no water, no drainage, no ventilation, little or no privacy. Often crowded shoulder to shoulder, with swarming pests, foul smells, and a persistent stench that clings to wood and clothes. Bathing is unheard of. Water is dangerous, believed to open the body's pores to disease. Few dare to wash, and when they do, it is done hastily and without care. Breakfast, survival, not comfort. After dealing with dawn's first necessities, hunger begins to gnaw at you. But breakfast is not a meal, it's survival. In 1325, most peasants start the day with a coarse dish called pottage, stale bread soaked in warm water or thin milk, sometimes with old onion skins or boiled bones for a hint of taste. No spices. No warmth. Barely more than stale bread softened in lukewarm water. You eat from a wooden bowl, maybe sharing one spoon among several siblings. And instead of water, you drink a weak ale, not because you enjoy it, but because water is too dangerous. It's untreated, polluted by waste and runoff. Ale is safer. Even children drink it. It's boiled during fermentation, killing off some impurities. bread is scarce. When available, it's heavy, dark, sometimes mixed with barley, millet, or even wood shavings when flour is poor. White bread is for nobles. Ordinary folk get the heavier black loaves, dense, tasteless, crumbly, quickly dipped in pottage to soften. Meat? A rarity. Fruit? If it exists, often rotten. Eggs? A luxury, seldom given. Tools for eating are crude, a wooden bowl, a rough spoon, or pieces of stale bread used as utensils. No tables. No seats. Everyone sits on dirt, or on rough wooden planks, or on tree stumps. Breakfast doesn't nourish you, it just delays the hunger. You swallow quickly, because the taste is unappealing, the warmth minimal, and tomorrow's labor long. Dressing for the day, clothes as torment. Once breakfast is done, it's time to dress. Clothing is one thin garment, or two, at most, hanging on a single wooden peg. No wardrobe. No mirror. No clean underwear. Only rough, itchy wool deeply stained by sweat, smoke, and dampness. You pull on the coarse cloth. The smell is suffocating, a mixture of urine, sweat, smoke, damp straw, and dirt. As you tug the sleeves over your arms, you feel tiny bites along your skin. Fleas. Lice. Persistent parasites that live within every seam and layer. Footwear is rare and often useless. Shoes are expensive, most go barefoot. The soles of your feet are raw, cracked, dirty, sometimes wounded, swollen from mud and stones. No socks, no cleanliness, no comfort. Cold in winter, searing hot in summer. And always damp. Always uncomfortable. Clothes are not a shield, they are another source of suffering. Painful, itchy, oppressive. You don't wear them for warmth. You wear them because you have no other choice. The harshness of daily life, labor from dawn to dusk. With the first light of dawn comes the first labor. Work in 1325 is not a job, it is life itself. The fields you toil are not yours. You work them to survive, to feed your family, to pay your lord or the church. Men plow the earth with crude wooden tools or, if lucky, a plow drawn by oxen. Women carry water, gather firewood, tend animals, cook, and take care of children. Children as young as 5 are given tasks: gather eggs, feed animals, fetch wood, carry water, clean huts, tend to younger siblings. There is no spare time. No weekends. No rest. Only endless labor. You wake before sunrise. The air is cold, biting at your face and hands. The ground is heavy with mud, filled with holes and rocks. You tread slowly, each step a struggle. If you're lucky, the plow glides. If not, the tool gets stuck, the oxen resist, or your body simply aches. Your back bows. Your hands bleed. Your knees crack under pressure. Summer brings blistering heat, sweat, dust, and cracked skin. Winter brings freezing winds, frostbite, brittle bones, and damp that seeps into everything. But the fields don't care. The crops must be planted, harvested, tended, or hunger will follow. Evening brings no rest. After a long day under the sun or cold, you still have chores: feed animals, repair tools, fix the roof, collect firewood, cook a meager meal, wash dishes in filthy water, care for the youngest children. And then you sleep, if you're lucky. On damp straw, under heavy blankets, with insects crawling, cold seeping in, and the fear of rain leaking through the roof. Sleep is never peaceful. Hygiene, health and fear, illness around every corner. Medicine as we know it does not exist. There are no hospitals. No trained doctors. No antibiotics. When illness strikes, you rely on herbs, prayers, and hope. Dental care is non-existent. Teeth rot, gums swell, pain becomes constant. A simple toothache can become fatal. Extractions are crude, done with a knife, a plier, sometimes no anesthetic. Infection spreads easily. Blood, swelling, fever. Death often follows. Wounds from work, from tools, animals, accidents, are treated in the same unsanitary way. Cloth, herbs, perhaps vinegar or wine. If you are lucky, it heals over weeks. If not, gangrene, fever, death. Clean water is rare. Rivers, wells, ponds, all are used for drinking, washing clothes, bathing animals, disposing of waste. Disease spreads through water, diarrhea, fever, infections. Many people avoid water entirely if they can, drinking ale instead, even for children. Bathing is considered dangerous. Many believe warm water opens your pores to disease. So people bathe once a year, or less. Clothes seldom change. Worms, lice, fleas are constant companions. Smell is accepted, so is sickness. And death? It may come suddenly, quietly, unnoticed. A child falls ill and doesn't wake. A parent contracts a fever. Or a simple cut becomes fatal. No funerals. No markers. A shallow grave, covered hastily with soil. Forgotten within days. Social order, religion, and fear. Religion permeates every aspect of life. The church is not just a place of worship, it is the only authority that watches and judges. Every Sunday you must attend church, whether you want to or not. If you don't, or arrive late, you risk punishment, suspicion, or worse. The church keeps records. Questions are asked. Eyes are on you at all times. Dissent is dangerous. Curiosity, disagreement, questioning, all may be interpreted as heresy. People whisper in corners. They avoid drawing attention. They hide doubts. They survive in silence. Women suffer the most. From birth, a girl's life is often destined for servitude. Childhood disappears quickly into work, cooking, cleaning, caring for siblings. By 12 or 13, many are promised in marriage, not for love, but for land, alliances, wealth. Their opinion is rarely asked. Their consent is meaningless. Their youth, innocence, voice, and hopes vanish. Marriage brings pregnancy, childbirth, often fatal. No hygiene. No help. No proper care. A simple birth can kill mother or child. If both survive, the mother returns to labor within days, fields, domestic chores, children, all while bleeding or recovering. Women have no rights. They cannot own land. They cannot refuse work. They cannot speak out. They cannot demand respect. They are property, to be used, to be replaced, to be disposed of, at whim. Some rare women attempt healing with herbs. They are accused of witchcraft. That alone can bring them to public punishment, torture, or execution. Fear is everywhere, fear of illness, hunger, death, accusation. Children and old age, lives forgotten. Children are born into hardship. Infant mortality is high. Few reach adulthood. Those who do grow up quickly. Childhood, with its laughter, play, hope, is brief. Many never know what rest feels like. Old age means bending backs, weakening bones, failing eyes, aching joints. With little food, no medicine, no comfort, few live beyond their 40s. Reaching 50 or 60 is a miracle, often at the cost of pain, frailty, and sorrow. If you survive long enough, you become weak, tired, worn. But work does not stop. The land does not rest. Hunger does not sleep. So you toil on. And when you finally die, perhaps at home, perhaps in the fields, your body is buried quickly. No tombstone. No name. No memory. Just dust and darkness. You slip quietly into the earth, forgotten by all but those who endure. The myth versus reality of the Middle Ages. When we think of the Middle Ages, images of shining armor, gallant knights, grand feasts, and majestic castles come to mind. Romantic, noble, legendary. But the reality was very different. Far from elegance and chivalry, the medieval world was harsh, brutal, unforgiving. Noblemen might ride horses and wear furs, but even behind stone walls and velvet curtains, life was filled with cold, hunger, disease, and fear. Knights, often portrayed as noble heroes, could be brutal landlords, exacting heavy taxes, enforcing labor, punishing peasants for failing payments. Violence, abuse, injustice, these were everyday tools of control. Castles may have impressed with stone walls and towers, but inside, the air was damp and dark. Guards patrolled halls. Servants labored. Disease spread. Food was plain. Comfort was rare. Fear was constant. And yet, despite all of this, ordinary peasants, women, children, the elderly, they lived. They worked. They suffered. They survived somehow. In the world of 1325, life was not a journey filled with adventures. It was a daily grind, from the first cold-shuttered morning to the final candlelight evening. A cycle of wake-up calls, labor, hunger, exhaustion, danger, illness, and even death. But each day survived was a quiet victory. A stubborn refusal to give in. A shallow grave avoided, at least for another sunrise. If you think the Middle Ages were romantic, think again. If you imagine heroic deeds and bright banners, look deeper. Behind the shining metal and tall towers was a world of mud, straw, sweat, misery, and human endurance. This is not a fairy tale. This is history.